Welcome to America in Crisis, Breaking the Cycle of Addiction. My name is David Hunt, and I am your host. Welcome to episode 39. This show could save your child's life. According to the CDC, there have been over 107,000 overdose deaths in the year 2023 in the United States. Today's guest is Charlie Cremins. Charlie was our featured speaker along with Sarah O'Brien at our monthly meeting in June of Middlesex District Attorney Marian Ryan's Opioid Task Force. After hearing ARC Behavioral Health, I knew I had to have Charlie on my show. Charlie is the National Treatment Advocacy Representative for ARC Behavioral Health. Charlie does national treatment advocacy for ARC Behavioral Health and formerly taught Big Rock classes at local PHP program. In this role, he introduces the resources available through Bedrock Recovery Center, Spring Hill Recovery Center, Spring Hill 604, which is a PHP, IOP, and recovery center to the community and healthcare leaders, unions, first responders, wellness professionals, as well as political influencers. Charlie's primary aim is to introduce individuals who are struggling to an appropriate level of care and develop partnerships with behavioral health influencers. As part of being the National Treatment Advocacy Representative for ARC Behavioral Health, Charlie is a member of the Youth Prevention Advisory Board, known as a YPAB, for the Boston Public Health Commission Office of Recovery Services. He is an active participant in Employee Assistant Professionals Association, which is the EAPA, with the Massachusetts, Rhode Island, as well as Connecticut chapters, where he networks along EAPs to introduce ARC's recovery centers as additional resources to professionals who assist co-workers seeking behavioral health help. He is a regular attending the Police Assisted Addiction and Recovery Initiative, which is known as PAARI, showing support to law enforcement initiatives. This is nationwide. In 2022, Charlie's decision to embark on a career path in behavioral health was again influenced by personal passion. Charlie decided to direct his focus towards treatment advocacy because of his powerful experience while engaging in the 12 steps of Alcohol Anonymous during his own personal journey for recovery. ARC Behavioral Health is a network of drug and alcohol addiction as well as mental health treatment facilities that provide a variety of levels to those who are prepared to begin their journey towards recovery. ARC has 3 facilities in Massachusetts and 1 in Ohio. Charlie, welcome to my show.
David, thank you for having me on your show today. It's a pleasure.
It was a pleasure to have you. I appreciate it. After the meeting with DA Ryan, I had to have you on. With the facilities you have, the public needs to know about this. It doesn't do any good having them if they can't find them. So let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You are a National Treatment Advocacy Rep. What are your duties? What does that mean?
It's a lot of outreach to the communities that are helping people in the behavioral health industry, influencers who are recommending treatment options throughout the communities. So I build partnerships and relationships with various decision makers who are informed and can help someone who's in a moment of crisis and clarity determine if Bedrock Recovery Center, Spring Hill Recovery Center, or Spring Hill Outpatient Treatment are the right opportunities for them.
So they have multiple choices, it's not just one.
Yes, yes.
So how long have you been with ARC Behavioral Health?
Since last July, I began my time at ARC Behavioral Health, and it's been a great year. A lot of discovery, a lot of learning, and a lot of introduction of the resources to the community.
Now, what made you get involved with this line of work? There's so many, saw your resume, quote bio, look more like a resume. You've got so many different things. What made you get involved with this?
In my life, I've always pursued professional, mission-driven work, and my own personal recovery is what drew me into the world of behavioral health. I myself am in recovery from alcoholism, and so on a day-to-day basis, I get to give back to the community that helped me so much. Full transparency, I went through Bedrock Recovery Center, then Spring Hill Recovery Center as part of my own personal recovery journey. So the company that helped me find recovery, giving back and becoming a member of their outreach team seemed like a natural fit for my mission-driven work.
It's nice. I mean, anybody can sit here and talk about it. You've been through it. It's so hard when you talk about something that's happened and like, well, it didn't happen to you. What makes you think you know everything? You've been through it. You know what to expect.
Yeah, it's interesting perspective to bring to the communities out there helping people struggling with addiction, having been a client and now being a part of the outreach team for ARC Behavioral Health. I lived it for 5 weeks of my life firsthand, received the charismatic influence of the various people teaching groups, the clinicians, the guidance with my outside issues that I had to handle, and now I'm able to introduce the program not just from a employee perspective, but additionally from a former client perspective.
It has a lot of credibility when you've done it yourself. Now, you've got a program called Quincy's Men's. What can you tell us about that?
So Quincy Men's is my home group. At Quincy Men's, I meet up once a week with the people who I've been in recovery with, and they're my accountability partners. In my position at ARC Behavioral Health, doing the outreach is it's also staying connected to the AA community and helping people who have found recovery, but also finding communicating with people who are in the grips of addiction.
Now, you didn't just walk into there and suddenly you're an expert. Obviously,
Yeah.
we'll read your bio. But what other positions have you held and for whom? What can you elaborate on that?
So coming out of college, I studied political science at UMass Boston. And at the college, I received an opportunity to work for Senate President Travellini
Okay.
in a program called the Senate Page Program, and it evolved into a full-time position with Senate personnel as their office manager. And so that's where I began my career, working up at the State House for Travellini's administration. And then from there, I got an opportunity in 2007 to become a college soccer coach, head men's college soccer coach. And one of my biggest passions in life was the sport of soccer. And so I took on that opportunity, and at the college, Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology in the south end of Boston,
Okay.
I worked my way up, and my final years there were as director of Boston Public School Partnerships and Admissions Recruitment. I also served as athletic director for a while, and I enjoyed that work, helping underrepresented, under-resourced youth aspire to higher education in vocational technical areas of study. And so those are the two positions I held prior to coming aboard at ARC Behavioral Health.
With all that said, what made you want this particular line of work? With all your qualifications, you could be doing anything right now.
To be honest with you, addiction plagues communities, it plagues households, families, and most importantly, the individual who's experiencing it. So I fell victim to the self-inflicted pain of alcoholism. And I, in my adult life, I've had a lot of sobriety. I've been abstinent from booze for periods of time. But I've found there's a difference between having sober time and being in recovery. And so today, and through the help of the people at Bedrock Recovery Center and Spring Hill Recovery Center and some of my peers I work with at ARC Behavioral Health, I've been pointed in the direction of recovery, which includes the program I work of Alcoholics Anonymous. And in recovery, I have a greater sense of fulfillment, and a big part of the 12-step principles is service. So I do that in my personal life, but it's helpful with the experience I've had, lived experience, to also give back professionally and expand the knowledge of what's out there in behavioral health for those who are struggling in active addiction.
Okay. One more question about you.
Yeah.
After that, it's no longer about you. It's going to be about you. Is there anything else you want to share I haven't asked you?
Good question. I guess I'd share just that professionally I followed my passions. Political science, the study of politics led me towards the State House. And then my passion for the sport of soccer and education itself. Helping others led me to working at Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology, and then the positive experience I've had in recovery and Alcoholics Anonymous led me to working in behavioral health. So I followed passion and mission-driven work in my pursuit of a career.
Okay. How's working with the EAPA and with PARI been beneficial to your outreach?
So being new to the world of behavioral health, the industry has professional associations that meet, and when they meet, they're talking about cutting-edge initiatives that they're engaging in. So with EAPA, Employee Assistance Professional Association, I'm able to network and learn from certified employee assistance professionals who it's their career path to guide their coworkers into healthy living. And when someone's struggling with alcohol or addiction, they refer people into treatment. And so that's been a great networking experience. And then with PARI, it's been wonderful to engage the public safety community, what the police are doing in their communities to help people with not newer, but somewhat newish initiatives like co-response, where a clinician rides along with officers in response to cases, to situations that might involve mental health or substance abuse. And in those co-response, clinicians are able to hopefully diffuse situations alongside the police officers, which leads to sometimes not an arrest, but a situation where they're referred to treatment. And so both associations have really allowed me to understand these professional settings and these career paths, PARI and EAPA, that are aligned with what I do in my behavioral health career.
Yeah, we've come a long way. On my last show, 38, we were talking with Officer Ted Lane and Lisa McCary, who does just that. They have people that ride along with the police. It doesn't need law enforcement. Someone's having a bad day, they're having a breakdown. They don't need to have guns drawn and people go in there. They just need some understanding, and we're beginning to understand that. And I mean, you've got to commend the state for allowing these partnerships, realizing, this really isn't a police matter. They don't need to be arrested. They're having a bad day and need someone to talk to them, talk them down. I mean, obviously the police will respond if needed, but a lot of times you don't need the police trying to become social workers. And it's great that they're realizing that with each other and realizing the strengths and the weaknesses. And it's something that everybody has to work on.
That's really well said. So with PARI, just developing partnerships with public safety and law enforcement and following the initiatives they've been doing has been my goal with collaborating.
I absolutely wish that the best of luck and success. I mean, the viewing public doesn't know how much work has gone into getting this program developed. So you've got to give them kudos for everybody that's brought this forward. Now, speaking of kudos, ARC's accreditations. What accreditation does ARC have and what partnerships have you formed?
So for their accreditations, I brought a list to accurately represent it. Nationally, our accreditations include the Joint Commission, which is known as JCAHO, and then Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities, which is CARF. And then statewide, we have the Massachusetts Bureau of Substance Addiction Services, known as BSAS, the Massachusetts Department of Mental Health, DMH, and then the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, DPH.
Okay. Now, you've got 4 facilities. Who runs these? So we have doctors, nurses, clinicians. If I walked in right now and said, I'm having a problem, who am I going to see? Am I going to see a doctor? Am I going to see a nurse? Am I going to see a therapist? What are you going to offer me?
So the process normally starts with a phone call to our business development admissions team, and we would go through a pre-assessment, allowing us to determine the level of care that's best suited for the person in need. And who takes part in that admissions process is our medical director.
Okay.
Our medical director reviews the personal assessment and medical records the patients provide, and that's in tandem with the executive directors of the facilities, the admissions team, the business development team, and additionally the staff at each facility. So to directly answer your question, if you were to walk in after making that phone call to Bedrock,
Yep.
The executive director there, he's a licensed social worker, and there are nurse practitioners who are helping with med management, clinicians on staff who have other accreditations necessary to provide therapy, and then group facilitators who carry a LADAC that who are providing the classroom materials for people who are suffering from addiction.
Well, that looks nice. I see a picture of Bedrock.
Right there in Canton, Mass.
Very nice facility. So what else do you treat? Is it just alcohol, substance, mental illness, all three? What do you treat if I walked in there with a problem?
So the 3 levels of care we offer in Canton are medical detox,
Okay.
to be medically taken off the influence that a drug has on someone's system. And then additionally, we have a mental health track known as Pathways and a substance use disorder track for addiction. And so those are the 3 tracks that we offer at Bedrock Recovery Center.
Let's talk about ACT in general. You have 3 facilities, 3 in Mass and 1 in Ohio, as well as an outpatient.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell me about these? I think the outpatient Spring Hill 604, I believe, that's Quincy.
Yeah, so Spring Hill 604 is the continuum of care that we offer through our through ARC Behavioral Health. And so at Spring Hill 604, you're able to do in-person PHP, IOP step down during the day, and we also recently opened an evening offering,
Okay.
and then virtual opportunities available as well.
So I don't technically even have to go there. I can do this online if I have to.
Yes, a lot of people access it via Zoom.
That is extremely convenient to people.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about Bedrock and Canton.
So Bedrock in Canton is a real dynamic place for healing. There's a lot of charismatic people in recovery there, as well as people who've devoted their professional careers to helping those suffering from addiction or suffering from mental health. And the 3 levels of care there, as I mentioned
what I was
before,
going to ask you,
is the detox, where people will start their journey. You can also be directly admitted into the mental health program, and then we have the substance use disorder track, the addiction track. The typical stay at Bedrock would be a week to 10 days for the detox, and then roughly 28 days for the residential mental health program or the residential substance use disorder program.
It's great that you have the residential. A lot of companies don't. It's 5 o'clock comes, you're out the door.
Yeah.
You're on an HMO, it's known as heave 'em out.
24 hours a day, we have dedicated staff in the building helping out.
Now,
I actually left something out. Sorry
So
to
go
interrupt
right
you.
ahead. No,
The
go
nurses at Bedrock do a phenomenal job helping care for clients. I left that out when talking about staffing at Bedrock.
It's all about the nurses, believe me. I had a little 5-day vacation we'll talk about later.
Yes.
And they basically kept me alive. So the care I got out of had nothing to do with drugs, guys.
Yeah.
The other issue. But I was there for 5 days. It's the nurses, the level of care. So I was looking at the website. I see it had a beautiful gym, a movie theater. How do facilities like that help the person?
So it's a holistic care. The program's designed so people have fresh air breaks, they get outside. Their bedrooms are semi-private bedrooms and bathrooms, so they have the ability to sit with self, when they are in a group and something comes to mind that they have to work through and process on their own. And then the classroom work is essential, where they're recovering in a community with their peers, like-minded people going through the same struggles. And our clinicians there in the one-on-one sessions really provide instrumental help when it comes to figuring out what is at the root of their need to use substances like alcohol or drugs for believed relief. And then the aftercare team, case management team, does a phenomenal job of carrying out, taking care of stuff in the outside world. If someone's court involved, the paperwork to the probation officer, if someone is on leave from work, signing off on the FMLA, PFMLA, short-term disability paperwork, and getting that in a timely manner. And then the aftercare team, once a client has developed a comfort level with their stay, they're discussing, what could be next with the continuum of care to continue pursuit to recovery, finding a healthier way of life. And so the aftercare team is doing a great job introducing resources available to them after their residential stay at Bedrock.
Now, the most important question of the entire show. For those of you who know me, you know where this is going. It's all about the food, people. It's all about the food. Do they get meals, breakfast, lunch, dinners, snacks along the way? Is this something provided? They fend for themselves? I know we have some facilities. You've got to order out or have somebody bring it in. Do you provide that?
We do. So the food services at Bedrock is phenomenal. They provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and there are healthy snacks along the way. Everyone comes in, they get a water bottle, and they're able to stay hydrated throughout their stay there. But the food is definitely something people look forward to. And they also include some homemade cookies and snacks when people are craving the sugar.
And since we're still on the subject of the facility, what type of ages do you accept? Is this for people under 18? Is there a limit?
So Bedrock, Spring Hill Recovery Center, Spring Hill 604, and then our program in Ohio Recovery Center are all for individuals 18 years and above.
Okay. And just to clarify, Spring Hill and Asbury, this is a live-in facility?
Yes, it's a residential program. It's similar to a rustic retreat on a hill in Ashby, Mass, with amazing scenic views of sunrise, sunset, a lake, and mountains off in the horizon. And Spring Hill is a residential substance use disorder program. It's known as a CSS level of care.
Nice. I see a nice little picture that looks familiar.
That right there is the barn. So that's where a lot of time is spent throughout the week. In the first floor of the barn is where the food service team prepares home-cooked meals, and then it's also the first floor is where the peer-led AA meetings take place, both in the morning and the evening. And the second floor of the barn, the loft, is where programming takes place.
Okay.
That's where all the classes are
Nice.
run by the facilitators.
Yep. Unfortunately, the show, what we've talked about, really doesn't do justice to what I've heard. I need to see this for myself.
I would love to bring you out to Ashby. It really is a breathtaking facility and property.
Around noon. Lunchtime.
Lunchtime, yeah.
What can you tell me about CBT and DBT? What are they?
So they're modalities taught in psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy, and dialectical behavioral therapy. And they're tools in someone's toolbox as they pursue living a healthier lifestyle. It's a way to cope with the struggles of life.
Yeah. We've been throwing initials around, and the viewers are like, how, who, what? So now, of course, what is outdoor-based therapy? A lot of people, you don't go out, you stay in there, you're like locked up in a facility. I take it you don't believe in that, and you have outdoor therapy.
So with the warm weather in the summer and the fall and springtime, they make it a point to have classes outside so people can take in the fresh air. At Spring Hill specifically, I would say the outdoor therapy is the same as the recreation. They have disc golf available. People play cornhole, wiffle ball. Yoga takes place in the mornings there. So the outdoor therapy is just built into the program, just as a part of taking in nature while they're learning about their recovery journey.
So basically, they're not feeling like a prisoner locked up.
Yes.
They're outside as if they're in their own home,
Yes.
their own neighborhood. That makes a lot of sense. Let them feel as normal as you can make them feel.
Yeah, and at night they sometimes cook up s'mores over a fire pit and they try their best to hold as many meetings outside as possible. They do the same at Bedrock, just space permitting.
Don't make them too good. People want to go back.
Yes.
Now, just not to be confused with other facilities. We have Spring Hill 604, not to be confused with Spring Hill.
Yes.
What can you tell us about the difference? It's just 604. I see a lovely front door.
So Spring Hill 604 is our outpatient. So people would go there for day or evening treatment. Outpatient meaning they're not spending the night in comparison to Bedrock or Spring Hill Recovery Center in Ashby, where the residential program,
Correct.
they're also
It's
living
a big
there.
difference.
Big difference, yeah.
How do people pay you? If they wanted to go in, do you take insurance? They pay cash, credit card, Medicare? Does any of this, what do they need to have? And what do you not take?
So insurance is essential to the whole recovery process. And so at ARC Behavioral Health, we accept most commercial insurances and private insurances, and the private pay option is always available. At this time, we do not accept Medicaid.
Okay. Now, when a patient is through, I'm not going to use the word graduated, but they finished your program, is there follow-up care? Is it out the door once they're gone, you never hear from them again? Do you guys follow up and see how they're doing?
We do. Our alumni team does a great job of staying connected. There are all these resources available, like we talked about earlier, Zoom. We have a Zoom alumni meeting once a month.
Okay.
With social media, Facebook is a tool used to stay connected to our graduates. And people are always reporting back to us, specifically with pictures of them holding up their medallions of their length of sobriety that they're achieving once returning back to their community.
Okay. Let's talk, since we've seen nationwide, yes, we're expanding. Let's do a quick mention of Ohio. What can you tell me about Ohio? What do people living in that area have available to them with ARC? And what amenities are at that facility?
So I personally am yet to visit Ohio Recovery
Oh my God,
Center.
that looks gorgeous.
It is. It's in Van Wert on the western side of the state. It's in an area of Ohio where people from Kentucky, Michigan, Indiana are able to access this level of care. At Ohio Recovery Center, we offer similar programming to Bedrock.
Okay.
There are 3 levels of care available: the detox, the Pathways program for mental health residential, and then the substance use disorder addiction track as well. And amenities-wise, the facility is similar from what I've seen in the drone footage and heard from my colleagues who work there. It's similar to Spring Hill with a large outdoor component, basketball courts, and just a cabin setting similar to a rustic retreat. And at Ohio Recovery Center, the staff who I engage with are just phenomenal people, looking mission-driven, looking to help people with their empathetic approach to life.
Now the bad news.
The bad news.
The bad news.
Yep.
Just read in the paper this morning that the governor just approved recreational marijuana in Ohio, and 98 people have just applied for permits to open up dispensaries. What do you see as an influx of people using, especially people that have never used it before? Like, oh, now it's legal, I'm not breaking the law, let's try it.
Yes, growing up, I remember people talking about marijuana as a gateway drug.
Yeah.
People are doing it to go to music concerts or to relax.
Now they're doing heroin.
Think they're relaxing, and so with those licenses you're talking about being put into place in Ohio, allowing the distribution legally of marijuana, I foresee people accessing, lab-produced marijuana that the strength they might not know what they're getting into. Therefore, it can lead to unfortunately psychosis, paranoia, anxiety, depression when they don't have access to it. So the ripple effects are definitely going to impact the communities in Ohio, in my personal opinion.
The big thing is, the way I see it, is people will take it because it's legal. Now they want something stronger or less expensive. So they're going to go to their local drug dealer to get something less expensive. And you don't know what's in there. You've got fentanyl, you've got xylazine. At least with these facilities, as much as they don't like they're dispensing a drug, at least they're giving you quality control. The drug dealer on the street does not have the good housekeeping seal of approval. Hey, this is a perfect drug, there's nothing mixed in it. You don't know what's going in there. And this was leading to our overdoses from fentanyl. Because for the illegal drug on the street, anyone with fentanyl, there's now a 40% positivity rate for xylazine, which is an animal tranquilizer for large animals that was never meant for human use. But it's something else to kick it up a notch. Because when you do a drug, it's okay, this is getting boring. I need the next drug to go higher. I'm through with the pot, it's not doing anything for me, I'm used to it. And then they're going into coke now, which isn't even a big thing anymore. Now they're going to heroin because it's cheap, something like $5 a bag. And you don't know what you're going to get for $5.
Yeah, so there is something to be said about how fentanyl seems to be everywhere the last couple of years, and it's dangerous, beyond dangerous, with the overdoses. I myself, for a period of time in my recovery journey, managed a sober home. In the sober home, we always made sure to have ample access to Narcan, just in case someone were to take fentanyl and overdose on the premises. So, the fentanyl opiate epidemic, how we met during the task force meeting, it's really alarming to society. So with the dispensaries selling the more potent marijuana versus not knowing what's in what you're buying from your local drug dealer, it's all a crapshoot, and that's why I personally am grateful for my recovery journey and not needing to seek relief outside myself and being comfortable in my own skin with sobriety.
Yeah. The big scary part is we tell you, oh yeah, use Narcan. Narcan's a wonderful thing for an opioid. But when it's mixed with fentanyl or xylazine, which was never made for human consumption in any shape or form, it doesn't really work. We tell people, yes, give the Narcan by all means. You've got three components. You've got the opioid, and the Narcan will remove the opioid from the receptor. So now you just have two problems, not three. The next one is dealing with the fentanyl. The next one is dealing with the xylazine, which is nothing. You can drown the guy in Narcan, and you're not going to get rid of the xylazine. But at least you're giving him a better chance to breathe. So when people say, oh, well, he's on fentanyl and he's got the xylazine, by all means, you want to administer your Narcan, but they'll knock out the opioid component, giving him a better chance. Now, these facilities sound absolutely wonderful.
Thank you, David.
Is there anything you would like to add before we wrap up? Something I haven't asked you, something you want to mention about a facility or anything we've done?
I think it goes back to how we started the program. When you were answering your initial questions, just my perspective on Bedrock and Spring Hill Recovery Centers. I lived it, and the staff there. It's just a beautiful place for healing, both Spring Hill and Bedrock. And so I encourage our listeners today, if they know someone struggling in their life or they themselves are struggling, to pick up the phone and consider calling. As part of my role as National Treatment Advocacy Rep is to just introduce resources that are available. ARC's programmings are great, and there are other programs in the communities as well that are effective in helping people combat their addiction. And I myself today credit ARC Behavioral Health, specifically Bedrock Recovery Center in Spring Hill, as pivotal stepping stones in my journey to where I am. And so it's wonderful to be able to report the perspective as a patient myself, and now today as an outreach representative for ARC Behavioral Health.
It's very well put. Before we go into our closing and a couple of little housekeeping notes.
I also want to say thank you, David, for the invitation. Meeting you during the opioid task force and your thorough preparation for this made getting in front of the cameras a much easier endeavor. I'm really grateful for all the work you do.
Believe me, there are about 30 phone calls back and forth to get the show to produce. It's not that easy to get something like this run. Well, I'd like to present. We have a close-up on this, so don't worry, trying to read the little words from 30 feet away. Charlie, thank you very much for all the work you've done and for your appearance today.
I'm grateful for this. I'm going to hang this in my office at our Quincy location.
Nice. And that'll show on the screen during the show. A couple of quick housekeeping notes. The last Thursday of August, doesn't matter what year, it's going to go on every year, but it's 2024 right now, around 6:30 on Woburn Common. They're having once again vigil on the Common. What this is basically we get together, we remember those that we've lost. They'll read the list of all the people that we've lost for this horrible disease. It's put on, of course, by Carmen Lucchese, who lost his own son and decided to do something good and start a foundation so other parents don't have to bury their kid like he did. I mean, my heart goes out to the family. I got to know them very well. Last year, other than the guest, I got to put a display up. And this year I'm coming back. I'll be giving fentanyl test strips and the new xylazine test strips. What that means is if you're a drug user, you can test your heroin and see if it's been tainted with xylazine or fentanyl. There'll be a lot of other things I'll be giving out, tote bags, and a lot of information for the Mass Department of Health. And of course, a big thanks to District Attorney Marion Ryan for providing the fentanyl and the xylazine test strips. Her office is amazing, what she puts out there to try to keep people from killing themselves. As you also know, a personal note, I have not had a show in 5 months. In March, I had a small surgery procedure to follow up on the big issue I'm dealing with. They had to redesign what they redesigned. I ended up with pneumonia, resistant in both lungs to any antibiotic. So for the last 5 months, I really haven't been able to come out and do anything, or even not choke to death while I'm on film. So I'm doing a little bit better, as you can see. Still have some side effects, which I'm not happy with, but I'm alive. Have to thank the crew over at Winchester Hospital on the 3rd floor nurses station, our night nurse, Caitlin P., and Linda, my nurse during the day. The nurses at Winchester are absolutely amazing, the way they treat their patients. I probably wouldn't have made it through if it wasn't for them. So thank the people, especially the emergency department down there that worked on me for about an hour. So things happen. Unfortunately, things do happen, and I'm doing better. So I have other amazing shows planned. I'm going to be retaping another show this Friday, and I have 2 more guests coming on within the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to make up for lost time. So tell your friends, stay tuned. The show's amazing. So now into the closing. I would like to thank our guest, Charlie Cremins, for appearing today. As always, thank you for watching. Please share this program with your social media friends. If you or someone you know is suffering from a substance abuse disorder, contact the Massachusetts Substance Abuse Helpline, and that number is 1-800-327-5050. If you are thinking about suicide, you can speak to a specialist at the new number 988. This show can be seen on a rotating basis on Woburn Public Media stations and on demand on their website and on YouTube. And one other quick thing, that's going to be around 6:30 on Thursday the 29th. At 6:30, everybody's going to meet for the vigil on the Common, so you know what time this is going to be. As always, thank the staff of Woburn Public Media Center for making the show possible. There is no way I can do the show without the devotion of the staff of this station, and I appreciate it. They're saving lives, they're doing a tremendous job, and most of all, they're putting up with me, which is a great accomplishment. So please enjoy our theme, Rise Above the Noise by Fireheart, one of our former guests, through the credits for important contact information and other shows. For America in Crisis, Breaking the Cycle of Addiction, I am David Hunt, and we are back.
It is what we bear. The whispers that I hear behind my back are those who never lost a child, a friend, and so they lack a sense of loss, a peace that's gone with no return. Above the noise is how we cope, above the noise is how we learn. The most important things in life I found comes deep within the heart, the purest sound of those who won the fight. Now they found a life that's true, a life so rich above the ground. We are people who care. Sound not heard is what we bear. We are people now. Listen to the sound. Listen to the sound. Rise above the noise in the air. The sound not heard is what we bear. The sound not heard